Welcome to On the Square. My name is Michael Coffey, and this is my first show for this year because everybody's aware of our situation with COVID, and everybody's just trying to protect themselves and try not to get sick or worse. So this will be November the 5th, so it's going to be the first show for this year. I do have a guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second after I just give out my welcomes to certain groups, and then my traditional Hotep, Jambo, Rahubak. These are different greetings in different languages. And also I want to give out a shout out to the Moore Science Temple, the Rastafarian cultures, the Prince Hall Masons, the Nuwabians, the Nation of Islam, and these are some of these groups. They're not like national groups for the whole United States population, but they're part of the United States population groups, grassroots groups. Also, there's other groups like Free Alabama Movement, which is dealing with inmates in prison. Black Land Initiative, which is dealing with trying to get more people housing. You also have the Justice League out of New York, and you have the Poor People Campaign Organization, I think out of North Carolina, Reverend Barbara. And I won't say any too much more because I'm using up her time, and I don't want, because she has a full plate. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and she's gonna be talking mainly or mostly about health and how it should be a priority for all of us.
Oh, okay. Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Michael, for the opportunity to be able to be here and share my knowledge. Again, my name is Dr. Mei-Ling Sue Caldera, and I know it's a mouthful.
Yes.
My background is very varied. 100% Chinese, but born and raised in Nicaragua, Central America. So as you can see, my background is diverse. I became an orphan at a very early age, and that motivated me to study medicine so that I could help people and prevent the death of individuals and that I didn't want anyone to go through as my parents did. They both died of cancer. Because of that, I realized that nutrition played a very important role in overall health. And God gave me the opportunity to come to Connecticut, and I was able to get a PhD in nutrition. With that, I did 10 years of research looking at vitamin D and cancer. I taught 9 years at UConn, and after retiring from that, now I'm actually helping individuals who are having issues getting health care. So I'm actually in the financial services helping individuals get medical care. Today I want to touch upon the importance of individuals to try to get medical care. I know that there have been concerns because some individuals cannot afford it. Please apply, because right now the president has put into place a lot of changes in the system so that people could afford health insurance. I have individuals that are paying $1 and change for a health insurance that covers many different needs. And so, I encourage you to call Access Health and get insurance. Right now we are in open enrollment, so that's why my plate is pretty full. I'm helping other individuals as well, especially the older individuals who are retired and are on Medicare. Many individuals on Medicare don't realize that they qualify for significant number of benefits, including a program that is called Medicare Savings Program. And without unbeknownst to them, they qualify to get help reducing the cost of the Part B premium of Medicare. You've probably been hearing a lot of those commercials out there. A lot of it is definitely applicable to here in Connecticut, but those are national networks, so not everything that you hear applies to you. But I am a local insurance agent here, and so I'm able to help individuals like I've done with, those around me. And so if you need help, especially helping to reduce your costs for Medicare, helping to reduce your costs for your medicines, I would like to share my phone number so that you may reach out to me, and I will gladly help you as well. I know today I'm not trying to sell or promote myself, but rather to educate you about the importance of seeking medical help. Many people wait until something happens to be able to seek medical help, and that is where they run into trouble. And that is why many individuals, even though they may be young, healthy, end up succumbing to some of these conditions, these diseases, especially COVID and the flu. I want to encourage you as well to get your vaccination. I was just showing my call the short clip on Channel 3 where my two granddaughters were some of the first kids between the ages of 5 and 11 to get their vaccination at UConn. So they're both 5 and 7 years old, and they were very excited and proud to get the vaccine because my daughter is a doctor at UConn, and she was in the COVID unit when it first started out, and they realized the importance of protecting themselves. They've never hesitated about wearing their mask wherever they go, and they would even call us adults, why is it that we're not using our masks when we're in groups? So education at an early age is very important, as we're doing with our children. So please, if you can, do go and get your vaccinations. I have some statistics here showing about the importance.
Before you do that,
Mhm.
just can you tell the audience the difference between the flu shot and the COVID shot in terms of not going in depth, but just the ingredients? Because can you say that many of the flu shots have live virus ingredients versus the COVID shot?
Well, they're completely different types
right.
of vaccines, yes.
Okay.
And again, I don't want to go into technical terms or
right.
anything like that. They are definitely different. And again, I know people have brought up controversies about using the COVID vaccine because it has RNA and so forth. They all contain some component of the viruses. Some are attenuated viruses. Some are just parts of the viruses, which the COVID vaccine is, except how is it that they make them varies. So again,
Right.
without going into those details, it's important to realize that the vaccination is working. I mean, we're seeing it in the statistics throughout the state and the country and the world, Since they started the vaccinations, the number of people hospitalized has gone down, and the percentage of those who are hospitalized, there's a larger percentage of those who have not been vaccinated. So again, those who have been vaccinated, it helps to reduce the how severe the condition could be. Many people think, "Oh, I'm vaccinated, so I don't need to wear my mask. I'm okay." No, you could still get the COVID, but because you have been vaccinated, your body is able to respond better and so you wouldn't get it as severely and you wouldn't need to be hospitalized, which has been the case in many, many instances.
Right.
So
And the
again,
last question, because I know you want to do your presentation also. Who is in the risk group for COVID? And I know everybody can catch it, but who's like in the top? Like you always hear, overweight individuals, older people, or somebody that have chronic illness like asthma, for example.
Absolutely. Starting from the older individuals, again, because their immune system is declining, they are more prone to many, many different infections, you know. And of course, those who have underlying conditions such as high blood pressure, COPD, emphysema, asthma, anything related to the lungs, of course, makes them more at risk, because as it is, their lungs are not functioning well, and because the virus tends to attack primarily the lung tissue, you know, on top of that, they're not able to overcome, and so many of them succumb to the COVID. But also individuals who have diabetes, high blood pressure, and diabetes, unfortunately, is a condition that in too many different other situations, they are also more at risk for heart disease, amputations, you know, blindness, kidney disease, you know. So there are many different things that diabetes predisposes individuals to. And as I was saying, especially older individuals who have, you know, their bodies have has deteriorated with time, you know, just like anything else, you know.
Right.
Even our cars or homes or clothing, you know, with time deteriorates. Likewise, our body is not able to respond as well to these diseases. But definitely we do have tools available to help us. Again, the use of masks is essential. Obviously, here in the state, as soon as they started to reduce the use of masks, the number of cases goes up. And as soon as they start to mandate the use of masks, the number of cases comes down. So those numbers don't lie as to the importance, as how simple the use of masks could be to be able to prevent the spreading of the disease. But not only of COVID. I have some statistics here, and I don't know if you could actually see some of these slides. Of course, it's too far away. But definitely, not only do the masks help to reduce the incidence of COVID, but also of the flu, because most viral infections come in through the mouth and the nose, which are the respiratory means. And so by protecting ourselves, our mouth and our nose, we help to prevent the flu virus from entering our bodies, and therefore the incidence of flu has also gone down. What I was trying to show in this slide here is that in the 2019-2020 flu season, the percent of individuals visiting the hospital was close to 8% because of the flu. But in the 2021 flu season, the percentage of individuals going to the hospital because of the flu was under 2%, more like 1.5%. And primarily is because we are using masks to protect ourselves from COVID, and at the same time, it protects us from the flu. There are many other statistics, you know, showing how in previous years, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 years back, the incidence of hospitalized influenza cases would reach in the hundreds. But in the 2021 season, it's in the single digits, So again, the number of hospitalized cases is reduced because, again, since we're protecting ourselves from COVID, we're also protecting ourselves from influenza and other viruses, flu-like viruses.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to try to enlarge this real quick, but we don't have camera persons because of COVID. We're trying to reduce the amount of people in the studio and have that social distancing. So that's an issue. If I had a camera person, then we can zoom in on this statistic. I'm gonna try, but don't hold it against me.
You could bring this one also. So definitely, whatever measures we're using to protect ourselves against COVID by doing the hand washing, the distancing, and using our mask is really helping in all aspects of acquiring these upper respiratory diseases. So again, it's very important because unfortunately, COVID has a higher infection rate than the flu. If anything,
No, it didn't go through.
and the statistics show that the infection rate of COVID-19 is 2.2 compared to 1.3 infection rate of the flu. So it's more than 2 times more infectious than the regular flu. In addition, COVID has a fatality rate. It means that it's more deadly than the flu. And as it is, the flu kills many thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. But COVID fatality rate is 40 per thousand. So out of 1,000 people that get COVID, at least 40 die, while the flu rate fatality is 1 per 1,000. So 1 out of 1,000 people who get the flu actually die. So those are statistics that we have to keep in mind. Not only that, it's important to keep in mind that the symptoms of COVID and the flu, there's some similarities, such as fever, cough, and fatigue. But for some reason, well, because COVID tends to attack the lungs, shortness of breath and respiratory issues are more common with COVID-19 than with influenza. So if you have trouble breathing, persistent pain or pressure in the chest, confusion, or the inability to fully awaken and have bluish lips, seek immediate attention. Don't think that it's just the flu, okay? Rather, it's better to be wrong than sorry. So always think that whatever respiratory issues you're having is COVID, and just seek attention, because we can't play with that. There are individuals who have walked into the emergency room and their symptoms did not seem very severe, yet even before they were admitted, they collapsed and died. Okay, so that's very important. And then talking about the vaccination, again, I just shared that my 2 granddaughters, 5 and 7, were one of the first children of that age to get vaccinated at UConn. And so I'm very proud of them. They were very brave and they were excited about doing that. But in terms of the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine, it's over 90% efficacious at preventing, and let me emphasize this, preventing symptomatic infection, meaning that many people who have been vaccinated could still get the disease. It doesn't mean, because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you're not going to get the disease. You could still get the disease, but thankfully, because of the vaccination, your body is able to respond and fight it off, and you would not have such adverse symptoms. In addition to that, it's 95% efficacious in preventing severe COVID-19 symptoms, especially after a 2-dose series. And now that they're giving the booster, that would even help improve that statistic. So,
well, talk a little bit. I know your time is limited on the booster because that's based on the antibodies kind of wearing off.
Exactly.
Well,
just like anything else, when we first get vaccinated, our body is able to react and start to produce immunity. But with time, that wanes. And because we were the first group to get vaccinated, we are actually, the scientists are learning as we go along. So now that they're realizing that the 2 shots that we got at the beginning in January and February is starting to wane. And because, again, we're coming into the flu season again,
Right.
cold season, that tends to make people more prone to be able to get upper respiratory infections, just like the flu season. This is the flu season,
Right.
Same with COVID-19. So that's why they're recommending those who qualify to get that 3rd booster shot. And
Just like, for example, my last visit to the doctor, they put out a questionnaire about tetanus shot. When was the last time I had that? Because they want a booster shot for.
exactly, just like many different vaccines, after a while, because your body hasn't been exposed to that virus, it tends to become dormant.
Right.
It needs to be reminded to respond to that virus. So a single dose of the vaccine is 66% efficacious, and so after 2 doses, it's over 95% efficacious. But of course, with time, it tends to wane, and that's why that 3rd booster shot is recommended. And they're finding that in new studies that the vaccines that have been authorized to be used in the United States actually prevent asymptomatic infection, transmission, and infection by the current circulating emerging variants like the Delta. Okay, so definitely I encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Of course, you have a choice, but definitely for yourself and for your loved ones, it's a very important choice that you need to make. Now, I've gotten reprimanded because, of course, everyone tells me about the cases that have had adverse reaction. And just like anything else,
It has a side effect.
some people have more severe side effects or reaction than others.
Mhm.
Again, it doesn't happen in everyone. But from the statistics dated June 7th, 2021, especially the side effect of causing blood clots, the rate at which it occurs is 3 people per million. Let me repeat that. 3 people in a million. Yet when I was talking about the fatality rate, the fatality rate is 40 in 1,000. So just think about that statistic. Your chances of dying of COVID is 40 in 1,000, while if you your chances of getting an adverse effect due to the vaccine is 3 in 1,000,000. Okay, so the chances are very low. And obviously, most of us here in Connecticut who have been vaccinated, we're doing well, thank God. And so, it's important for you to consider those statistics that I'm sharing with you today. And so with that, I actually have to leave.
Yeah, you got a couple of minutes, unless you want to
Yeah.
give
But
your phone number
I-
for
if I
enrollment.
If I may, I would like to give you my phone number. If you have any questions regarding what I spoke about today, or you are interested in learning more about Medicare and how you may be able to get better benefits. And I know you're probably tired of hearing about it on the news or in those ads on television.
On the internet.
On the internet. But again, those are actors being paid to do that. I'm a local person. I have an office here in Hartford. I could sit down face to face with you. We could do a Zoom presentation or over the telephone. And I like to individualize each case because your case is different from another. And there are many different companies out there, many different plans, but my utmost focus is in helping you get the benefits that you need, and more importantly, staying healthy, helping you get the medical care that you need as well as your medicines. And many people are paying for their medicines right now. And again, what is coming up for 2022 is going to help many of you not have to pay those co-pays for the medicines, which could be pretty substantial. So my phone number is 860-874-1495. Again, 860-874-1495. And I could help you if apply for this Medicare Savings Program if they're taking out money from your Social Security. This year it's $148.50, but next year it's going to go up to $157.70. So close to $158 every month. They're going to be taking from your Social Security check. So you may qualify to get this benefit. And many people said, well, I applied a couple years ago and they denied it. I just helped a couple who thought the same, and yet they qualify now because those income levels are changing. Or a lady yesterday, just because she has a house, she thought that she didn't qualify, and definitely she qualified. So again, if you don't know much about this, or they're taking out money from your Social Security and you need help with that and paying for your medicines, please give me a call. Once again, 860-874-1495. 860-874-1495. Thank you so much, Michael, for this
Thank you
opportunity.
for coming in. Squeeze. Yeah.
I have Nick Carson.
And this is, what is this, your second or third time on the show? So
Yeah.
she's not limited to come on. So if you don't call, we can invite her in again and she can elaborate a little bit more on just health issues. It don't necessarily got to be COVID. It don't necessarily got to be enrollment. It's just anything to improve your health.
Yes, I didn't go in depth in terms of my background, but I am a medical doctor. I graduated as a doctor in my country, in Guatemala. But I also got a PhD in nutrition at UConn and did 10 years of research with vitamin D and cancer. So I have a pretty broad knowledge, and I'd be happy to be able to come and share with you my knowledge with regards to different health related concerns. So please call Michael and share with him maybe some topics that you would like for me to cover and help you in those areas. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Now, I am going to touch a little bit on a few. It's more conspiracy to try to clean that up a little bit, because sometimes when you hear something, it scares you to check it out.
You want me to leave it in?
Yeah, you can, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Watch your step. But I also want to go into current affairs. We just had some voting, and I just want to touch a little bit on voting. And I did vote yesterday. I was an angry voter because I'm kind of disappointed in some of our elected officials, but still feel to exercise your right to vote. And you just got to do a little bit more research, and the doctor right here will tell you research is very effective, because you might be, whether it's a health issue or whether it's political and you're having problems, the more research you do, the better results you're going to get. So, like myself, I was very disappointed with some of the politicians, but I still voted, and I tried to change a little bit who I thought that was cater more to my issues or my needs as a politician. So I actually surprised myself because I did vote for one Republican, and so I never did that ever in my entire life, vote for a Republican. So I switched up, and that was out of anger. And you learn in martial arts that making decisions when you're angry or fighting when you're angry, it is a lot of negative side effects when you make a decision or fight when you're angry. So I acknowledged that I was upset with these politicians, and I did vote for a Republican because I looked at this person's track record, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't that bad, and it was better than some of these Democrats that I voted for in the past. So I did changed one of my votes the other day for a Republican. Now, and again, I'm not saying that because I'm proud. I'm saying it is I'm just frustrated. You keep voting for these certain people, and they don't do anything. And I would like a politician to say, hey, if you vote for me, a lot of stuff I won't be able to do for you. That's fair. You're not a miracle worker. If I vote for this particular politician and he comes in and I think he doesn't do, or her doesn't do anything to help my situation or help people around me, their situation, I don't really hold that against them, because I also know that they're in a system, and in that system it might not allow that person to make an impact on that particular issue. Now, eventually, if people get together and rally behind that politician, maybe he or she can get something done on that particular issue. But I can't keep voting for the same person every election cycle, and they're not telling me why they can't get it done. I'd rather you be honest and say, the reason I can't get it done because of this issue and this issue and this issue and this issue, and I have more respect for them. Even if we go all the way back to Roosevelt in the 30s, during the Depression and World War II, he told a bunch of black people that came to his office with a bill for lynching, an anti-lynching bill. He told them to their face that if he vote for this bill, he won't be elected for a president. He won't become president. That's a politician that I have respect for, because he's telling you up front why he's not going to do it. And he's telling you why he's not going to do it. I don't want a politician to smile in my face and want my vote and know good and well he's not going to do any of that stuff that I'm asking him to do. Just say, look, I need your vote. I would like your vote. But the stuff that you're looking for me to do, I can't do it. Now, if you can get a bunch of people to help me try to do it, I will try. But on my own, I can't do it. That's the kind of politician I'm looking for. Not somebody that just want your vote and he disappear or she disappear into the next cycle to vote again. So that's what made me vote for this Republican person, is because not because I like Republicans, but I see this person was a little bit better, just a little bit better than a lot of the Democrats that I was normally voting for on a typical election cycle. Also, I'm an independent, and I just want to make this clear when somebody tells you that they're an independent. A real independent knows that there's a lot of BS on the Republican side. There's a lot of BS on the Democrat side. That's why you're an independent. You're an independent because if you see somebody on opposing sides doing the right thing or the most effective thing, you're gonna vote for them no matter what party that person's involved with. So I can't call myself a liberal all holistically because I know liberals don't know what they're doing. And I'm not going to call myself a Republican or a conservative because the conservatives and Republicans, they don't know what they're doing. So I look at all these different categories and I say, oh, that one person, even though he's a liberal or conservative, he or she knows what they're doing. I'm not voting for the party. I'm voting for that particular person because they can get something done. And that's what makes me want to stay as an independent. Now, it's tough to get anything done as an independent because we don't have a party. What happened is you got a bunch of different groups, independents, and they're not all together. So you can have like 10 or 15 different independent groups. See, you have the Democrats on one side and the Republicans on the other side. That's it, 1, 2. And some people think they're all the same because they're getting the same money. Both of those two groups are getting the same money, so they're very similar. But independence, there's a lot of different. You got working parties, you got natural law party, you got the Green Party, you got libertarians, you got lists go on and on. You got different independent groups, and they're all not going to get together. It's just too many, and they have two different viewpoints, so it's just going to be a big fight. So it's hard for independents to get anything done. But what an independent can do, and what they've been doing for years, they'll vote for a Democrat or they'll vote for a Republican that they feel that's going to get something done. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I did on that last election. I voted for a particular Republican because I felt that they're a little bit better than who I was voting on. Some of these Democrats I've been voting, and not to name any names, but one of them I voted 3 times for this person, and then I don't see where the improvement in this person in the office, but I voted for them 3 times. That's like party loyalty. For what reason? This person's not doing anything. So I got to the point where, out of frustration, which you shouldn't be doing anything out of frustration or anger, but I did do it because I have character flaws. Nobody's perfect. So I did vote for opposing party. And if we had strong enough independent party that wouldn't be doing all this infighting, I would be voting independent. But again, the opposing parties, the liberals and the conservatives, they always make it hard for an independent to do anything useful. Look at Bernie Sanders. He's having a hard time passing anything because the conservatives and the liberals are fighting him. So some of the things, and I'm not saying that I will vote for Bernie Sanders. I'm just giving you an example. For any independent, everything is extremely hard to get done because the two parties monopolize or dominate the system to make sure outside people can't get in and make improvements. So I'm not going to say too much more on voting, but I'm just letting you know that I did vote, and that's why I like criticizing politicians, because I don't think you have the right to criticize them if you don't participate and you don't vote. But I'm not a big fan. You know, I don't know any other recourse that we can do to get these politicians to do their job. And I'll just be honest, there's one or two that I like. I like Karen Bass. She's not even in the state of Connecticut. She's in California. And I heard that I don't know if it's true, but I heard that she's running for mayor of Los Angeles. So I'm upset. She's leaving Congress, where I think she's needed, but she feels that she's more effective to be closer to the people of California and Los Angeles and run for that position. So here's another politician which I like that's leaving Congress, allegedly leaving Congress, and so it just makes it extremely hard to vote for somebody in the Connecticut area. You have people like John Larson, which is in this area. I think he covers East Hartford, and some other surrounding towns and stuff like that. And I'm like, he's been around for a while, and he has a good reputation. But I'm like, what has he done for you lately? You know, and that don't mean that you're supposed to run over and do what I just did and vote Republican. I'm just saying we got to find some way to hold these people accountable. They just come back from Washington to have a town hall meeting, hear you complain, and go back to Washington and do whatever they do. Well, actually, I'll try to be fair. They spend a lot of time fundraising for the next election. They spend a huge portion of their time fundraising for our next election. So we should be lobbying Congress to say it shouldn't cost that much to get elected. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars that you have just to run as a senator in the House of Representatives. That's ridiculous. Here's another ridiculous stat. 95% of the people in Congress, once they win, they're going to win again. So it makes it extremely hard to get them out of office. They got to do something crazy or stupid or damaging to their career to get them out. So it's almost like once they get in there, we're stuck with them. So we got to make it easier for them to get out of office, and we got to make it easier for them to run without having to raise so much money that take up the majority of their time to even get elected or be on a platform to get elected. So, and I know that politics is not a interesting topic for the majority of people that listen to talk TV. Most people, I tell you, the most popular thing outside of relationship information, like how to have a good relationship, how to be a good husband and all that kind of stuff, that's popular. The next well, actually even more popular than that is when you talk about making money. That's probably the most popular topic you can talk on TV or radio or on the internet. How to make money, how to be rich, how to be a millionaire. But we know there's a lot of scam artists and there's a lot of Ponzi schemes and stuff like that. So I don't really spend too much time talking about financial security or how to be rich. Yeah, I went to college and I was a business major in college. And when I was studying business, a lot of stuff I learned because some of the professors decided to tell me the truth because for whatever reason they liked me and they just decided to tell me stuff that I would call dirty or greedy stuff that they did and other people did to get rich. And that kind of made me shy away from business a little bit because I'm not built like that. I'm not built to go hurt people and take their fortunes and their retirement money to make myself rich. You know, it takes a certain individual to be that selfish and evil and greedy. And I'm not built like that. And I'll tell you an experience that I had. I did buy Donald Trump's first book, The Art of the Deal, because when I was in school, the first thing, well, most of us, we wanted to be like Donald Trump. See, these are the things that happen when you glorify money and you just want to be rich and stuff like that, and you don't care about hurting other people to get that money. It's almost like a drug dealer. I really don't care the damage I'm doing, the harm I'm doing to get this money because the money's for me. So when I first started in school, that's all I was thinking: money, 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 and I really don't care how I get it. And then when my and I guess my professors seen that in me, and it was pumping my brakes. It's like, it's good to have money. You're able to pay your bills. You go on vacation. You're able to help your family and all that kind of stuff. Those are the positive things. But to go after the money and you don't care who you hurt, that's not good. And that's the path I was. And I also had some friends that they got wealthy and they hurt a lot of people on their way to being rich. They hurt a lot of people. They lost friends. They cheated people out of money and all kinds of things. So I just looked at that and I was like, I don't have the stomach to do that. And I'm not saying everybody that's wealthy scams somebody and hurt somebody. But it's very hard to be rich and don't step on people's toes and stab people in the backs. It's very hard. You know, I even had a friend that had a bunch of people joined up and put money. They pooled their money together, put the money together to start a business. And once the business took off, he was pushing them out of the company, pushing them out, so he could have all the resources, all the money, all the fame, and nobody don't know where he came from because he had a team. He had a team that helped build the company, but he pushed them out of the company. That happens a lot. That happened in BET. There's a lot of companies that start off with a team and they push people out. Sometimes they pay them off, which is a good thing. They'll come up to somebody and say, John Doe, I know you was with me when we started this company, but I want to buy you out. What do you think your portion is worth? And I will pay you that money for you to get out of here. That's fine. You buy the person out. But a lot of people don't get bought out. They get pushed out. So again, you got to be built a certain way to hurt somebody like that and don't care. Don't leave any sleep. Don't lose any sleep. Just keep getting all this money, you know. So, again, I'm all for making money I'm all for helping people with your money. You just got to be careful. And the last thing, because my time is running out, I do want to mention, going back on the original topic of the, we were talking about health and talking about insurance and COVID and all that stuff. There's an article that you can get out of the Department of Chemical Engineering from Northeast University, and it's a review. It's talking about nanoparticles. So you got to understand what's the difference between nanoparticles and nanobots. Nanobots are devices. It's like a miniature robots. That's different from nanoparticles. Nanoparticles is of under 100 mNs, which is nano. What's the M stand for? Meters. Nanometers. Under 100 nanometers. So this is what people get inside their body from medical professionals. So if you got cancer, a lot of times they use nanobots to fight the tumors. That's some high-tech Star Wars, Star Trek stuff. That's high-tech. Nanoparticles, that's what you get in the COVID shots. It's two different things. They're particles. That's like our ingredients. Just like when you make a cake, you put butter into the cake, or sugar, or flour. Those are ingredients. A nanobot is a device. That's like somebody putting a what's the thing that you call when you have heart problems and you put the machine in there. Can't remember what's the name of the device, but it's a machine. A heart is a pacemaker. That's the name of a pacemaker. When you that's a device. You put a pacemaker to help keep your heart going. Nanobots is a device. Is a machine. It's really small, but it's a machine. Nanoparticles is an ingredient. That just means it's a substance. It's a substance that is injected into you. So you can't sit around there and say, I don't want to get COVID shot because it has nanobots in it. It doesn't have nanobots in it. It has nanoparticles. I just explained the difference. One is a device and one is the ingredients. So I just gave you a report that you can do your own research. And then when you do the research with this report, go to the CDC and get a report from the CDC. And go to the National Institute of Health and get a report on that same topic. Go to the World Health Organization, get a report on that topic. Get multiple reports. Talk to your doctor and say, what's the difference between a nanobot and a nanoparticles? Get all the information before you go and tell your neighbors, or you get on the phone, or you get on Facebook and say, I don't want a nanobots in my body. You got to know the difference between, and I already told you, nanoparticles are in the shot, but nanobots are not in the shot. If you want a nanobot, then you have to get a different kind of treatment. So if you have cancer, you're probably going to get a nanobot put in your system. If they can't treat you with chemo and things and radiation and surgery, and you have the money or the insurance, the next move is to go with a nanobot. Also, here's another report. This came out of I want to say the University of Missouri. Is a study dealing with face masks, and they did a study on face mask in a hair salon. The problem is some of the research was kind of shaky. It wasn't thorough. So a lot of people is believing that this study is telling you that you don't have to wear face masks based on this study. But I would recommend that you get the study and read it and understand. Ask your doctor or whoever, or ask your professors when you used to go to college that's dealing with medical or biological or biology or human science to help you understand this report, to understand what they were trying to do with this face mask research. So what I'm saying is some errors in there. So because somebody made some errors doesn't mean that you're not supposed to wear masks. It just means that you need more research on the effectiveness of wearing a mask. So again, I just gave you, let me see if I have a name for this report. I don't see it. I don't see a name. I see what they're talking about. This came out in May 20.